What's up, everybody? Derek Johnson here. Just going to show you another cool little scenario of what a special operation will look like. It's really cool. All right, so one, we're in a continuity government. All right, 3 branches of government are all under continuity government. When that happens, that means the Constitution is put on pause and the law war manual steps up to the plate, which means a military occupancy by the military. All right, it was done this way on purpose. For a reason. There's so much stuff that they're cleaning out, right? But let me show you a different kind of scenario. All right, so Joe Biden has extended 12 executive orders with national emergencies inside of those by Donald John Trump 2 years in a row. All right, 3 of those make absolutely no sense whatsoever. One's the election interference, Executive Order 13848. Then you have Executive Order 13818, the human rights abuse, which encompasses all kinds of trafficking and also whistleblowers. And then also the Executive Order 13959, which would be addressing the threats of people and companies and organizations, etc., financing the People's Republic of China. All right, those 3 especially make no sense whatsoever if you know anything about Joe Biden's past and history. So then on obviously July 13, 2023, which was an extension order because you cannot extend national emergencies and executive orders no more than 2 consecutive 12-month periods. July 13, 2023 was an extension order from the original order where a president and Congress can declare war, which is a War Powers Resolution Act. So Joe Biden, quote unquote, July 13, 2023, said, I hereby delegate the authority to the Secretary of Defense and Homeland Security. Well, you got to go look in the original War Powers Resolution Acts where you actually declare the war if you were president. All right, so if Joe Biden was real and he was going to declare war, that's where you find it. But the last amended section of the War Powers Resolution Act is not Joe Biden. It's Donald John Trump, Section 1550. And the executive documents below and the memo below, which specifically says, I hereby delegate the authority and functions vested in the president of Section 1550 to the Secretary of Defense. All right, we scroll up to Section 1550. It's dated December the 20th, 2019, which is Donald John Trump. So why would Joe Biden give the power to the Secretary of Defense to abide by the powers and the authority and the functions vested by Donald John Trump? That would make no sense whatsoever. All right, you can only have one commander-in-chief. Well, because the Military Justice Act clarified that commander-in-chief is separate from the federal government and it's separate from president, that means that was a direct order, which military should already know that. All right, so I'm going to show you another way, which is really cool. All right, so I'm going to show you this scenario where a special operation and how they would set this up and how you play a game of chess, right? So when you know people are traditionally against something, now think about it. Really, really, really think about it. All right, so Joe Biden, his whole career, not the Joe Biden that people would think of as just president. We're talking about the vice president. We're talking about also a senator for all those years, all right? He has a long history of plagiarism. He has a long history of lying. He has a long history of flip-flopping. He has a long history of certain things that we're about to talk about. So when you think about those 3 orders alone, that's just 3 executive orders. Now, it's important because why would he extend those? Why would he extend something that would damn his whole administration? All right, the election interference. All right, that makes no sense. It doesn't even make sense for the Democratic Party because it was Joe Biden versus Donald John Trump. And they do know for a fact that numbers don't just skip like that. All right. Also, Executive Order 13818, which encompasses all trafficking, drug trafficking, child trafficking, sex trafficking, human trafficking. All right. And then also it protects whistleblowers because of the Global Magnitsky Act that pairs with it. Hunter Biden is linked to multiple incidences of those. Also, his dealings with Ukraine and all those things that are absolutely, they're documented. And then Executive Order 13959, which is once again, the financing the People's Republic of China. Donald Trump has been against China from day one, all right? And Joe Biden has always been for China. So, you don't have to, you don't even have to be a political person to understand that. You just have to know parties and different people, what they stand for, what they don't stand for, what they say they stand for, what they verbalize to people. So Joe Biden has always been for China. Why would he be issuing an executive order, which he's not issuing it, he's actually just extending Donald Trump's? Why would he extend Donald John Trump's order that's going against the People's Republic of China when he's always been for China? That makes no sense. So when you apply this next variable, right? So all of those plus just today, which today is August the 8th, 2023, he was talking about the quote unquote the Grand Canyon and keeping it from mining companies for mining for uranium. Well, that's weird, because I'm pretty sure it was Uranium One. It was a big scandal with the Clintons, $145 million scandal. All right, which President Trump said and insisted that that was the real Russian collusion, the real Russian scandal. All right, because who did they sell Uranium One to? Who did the Clinton and the Clinton Foundation sell that to? Russia. So think of this like this. All right, in order to clean out a federal corporation, in order to trap all of these evil people, dump the party affiliation stuff. We're talking about rhinos and dinos. We're talking about on both sides. This works for all people. All right. When you think about what would it take to clean out the swamp, what would it take to drain the swamp, what would it take to, restart, have a fresh restart, wipe everything out? Well, unfortunately, we have to use party systems because that's where we are. We all inherited this. So when you really look at what's going on, it's really genius. So the military and the military occupancy and the continuity of government, which is going on, all by legislation, all bipartisan passed. All right. When you know what I already talked about, what I've already shown to the people, the chronological order of this timeline, of this blueprint, of this military occupancy and continuity of government, well, the chess game that's being played was really brilliant because watch this. All right. You make Joe Biden sign all these executive orders that he or the liberals or the Democrats would never support. All right. You make him sign all of these things. Therefore, what can his party not do? What can the evil people not do? And what could the evil people, even on the rhino side, what could they not do? Right? If the quote unquote visual, what people think is the president, those of us who know what's going on by legislation over here, no. The ones that don't. And the ones that don't have to see all this stuff played out. So if they're watching Joe Biden sign all these things he would never stand for and his party would never stand for and all the evil people would never stand for, if he's signing these as a visual president, they can't go against it, right? They can't turn around and go, oh, we want this or we want that. No, he's signing the very things that they would never stand for. So it basically is a clean out in a different kind of way, because it would be the very things that no one should ever want. No one should want all of these other things that you wouldn't want trafficking to be going on, right? If you're any kind of person, humanity-wise, you would not want trafficking to be taking place, right? So election interference. Donald Trump said it best. He's like, I don't agree with one word that Bernie Sanders talks about, but even his own people screw him over, because he's talking about all elections, fair and reciprocal. He's not talking about just for the Republicans. He's talking about on both sides. May the best man or the best woman win. So when you think about the clean out process, what they're making Joe Biden look like, it's genius. Because everything that man is quote unquote, what people think, the sleepies out there, everything they think he's signing goes against the very thing he stood for his whole life, and the Clintons, the Obamas, and people like that. Think of it. Now go back to that original order, the War Powers Resolution Act, where the president and Congress can declare war. All right. Why would Joe Biden on July 13th, 2023, and also July 19th, 2021, all right, there's your 6 days from being 2 years, all right. Why would Joe Biden give the Secretary of Defense the authority vested by the president in Section 1550, which is Donald John Trump? All right. Do you know the Secretary of Defense is directly under the Commander-in-Chief? All right. So if Joe Biden is telling the Secretary of Defense to listen to the order put into place by Donald John Trump, then who's the Commander-in-Chief? Donald John Trump.